This is my review of My Hero Academia. Okay, so in this episode we're introduced to two new academies, Shiketsu and Kutsubutsu. Shiketsu is the more important one-ish, because it should be noted that not only is it the one academy in all of Japan that's able to match UA in terms of prowess, but it also holds a student that actually got in on recommendations, much like Todoroki and Momo did, but instead he went to Shiketsu instead of them. So it's clear that they also are well earning of their prestige. So, and the other is Kutsubutsu, which is important as well, but for a different reason that I'll explain later. It's complicated. I'll explain. But yeah, after Deku demonstrated his newfound moves to the rest of Class 1A, they ask him what happened that caused him to change his style, and he explains. He explains that he can't use his arms anymore, so he started using his legs, and also explains the upgrades that Hatsume actually made to his gear. So she gave him the arm bracers, obviously, which we've explained last time, but she also gave him metal soles for the bottoms of his shoes, which not only enable him to move more quickly, but also enable him to deliver more kicking power. So overall, his gear is mainly designed to help him not only stabilize his already injured arms so that they don't break, and also take advantage of his newfound kicking abilities. But it's at this point where Class 1B comes in and realize that they're going to be taking over because they have to use the training ground as well, because they're also taking the provisional licensing exam, so they have to use the same gym. And in the process, we actually find out a bit more about the exam, about how it's going to be separated based on school, and no school is going to be encountering one another in the exams. So that's good. I'm interested to see how Class 1B is going to go, though, since this is probably going to be the last we'll see of them for a while. But yeah, neither Class 1A or Class 1B are going to be facing each other in the exams going forward. So we're never going to see them again during this entire arc. So this is the last we're going to hear of them. And then late that night, all the girls are talking, and during the process, they actually accurately deduce that Ochako has a crush on either Deku or Ida. They can't really figure out which, but they figure out that she does have a crush on one of them because she starts floating to higher embarrassment. It's adorable and amazing. And yes, case in point, she does realize she has a crush on Deku after floating next to the window and looking out the window to see Deku training. And the framing makes it pretty clear that she has feelings for Deku. But at Sue's request, they decide to stop teasing her, and then they go to bed. The next day, they arrive where we meet the students from Shiketsu, and one of them is a bit overly enthusiastic. Inase, he's the guy I told you about earlier. And then they leave after wishing UA good luck. But then things get weird, specifically for Aizawa, because another pro hero, Miss Joke, shows up and starts flirting with him, much to his chagrin, because it should be noted, as she puts it, they were actually in different agencies right next to each other, so they spent a lot of time fighting crime with one another. And her quirk, Outburst, is actually the polar opposite of what Aizawa's is. Whereas Aizawa is kind of a stick in the mud kind of person, Miss Joke is the exact opposite, and their quirks very much reflect this. Aizawa's quirk disables other people's quirks, whereas Miss Joke's quirk, Outburst, actually causes people to burst into fits of laughter. So they're quite the mismatched pair. And yeah, it should be noted that she has feelings for Aizawa, but Aizawa is just kind of having none of it. And then after meeting everybody, Class 1A moves into the examination room where they begin the orientation, and it's pointed out that Aizawa was holding information from them, but what is never explained until much later. At this point, we meet Mera, who is a representative from the Board of Heroes, and he's very tired. I'm not exaggerating. He's basically dead on his feet, and he even states as much that he hasn't gotten sleep in days. So, yeah, it's clear that Mera has having a rough time, and he even points out that they're understaffed at the Council of Heroes. So he points out that he's kind of a bit overworked and definitely needs a nap. But he does explain how the course works before deciding to go off and sleep. So he explains that the way the course works is that it's going to be the first 100 students to pass, which is a bit alarming for some of the UA students. And most of the other students, I'm presuming, we don't see their reactions, but it's pointed out that it's very clear that Class 1A is going to have a rough time. But then he explains what the course actually is, about how each student will get 3 targets and 6 balls. 6. And each student, and the way it works is that if all 3 of their targets get hit, the student's out and they fail the first portion of the exam, so they don't get to move on. And yeah, that's basically it. They get hit with a ball too many times, they lose. There are stipulations though. It has to be somewhere visible. They can't paste it on the sole of their foot or in their armpit. None of that. None of that. It's very clear that they're not supposed to do that. And also, it should be noted that Class 1A is at a severe disadvantage because everybody knows what their quirks are. Because the thing is that's kind of a free-for-all between every single school. And for the most part, Class 1A decides to stick together to maximize their chances of winning. With the exception of Todoroki, who goes off on his own due to the fact that his quirk doesn't work well when in groups of people. And Bakugo and Kirishima, because Bakugo ran off on his own because he doesn't want to be with the rest of the group, and Kirishima follows suit just to keep an eye on him. So yeah, the 3 of them aren't in the group for the most part. Class 1A is all together though. But it's also at this point where it's revealed that what Aizawa needed to warn them about was that all of the groups were going to gang up on them. Because it's UA. UA is like the big school. So naturally everybody's going to get wiped out immediately. But then Aizawa points out that he has a bit more faith in the students than that, and that it doesn't really matter if he did or didn't, since the staff at UA kind of thinks a little bit ahead and planned accordingly for this. And sure enough, Class 1A basically stops the assaults head on and are able to easily outmaneuver all of their shots. So yeah, now everybody else is without a ball, and Class 1A still has theirs. So yeah, it sets up the arc that all of the students are now going to be competing in a free-for-all style to get their license, which is an interesting way to do it, but I do like it. It is an interesting way to do it, as I said, because it not only gives us the opportunity to see how everybody's quirks work, but it's also a good opportunity to show what Class 1A can do in a group setting. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of different students with a lot of different quirks going forward, and I'm not entirely sure what some of them are. I know a couple-ish, because I've heard of a couple of them that are down the line. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to play out though. But yeah, and also it should be noted, Class 1A has yet to show off their upgrades as well, so we're going to be seeing that. So yeah, the rest of Class 1A is going to show off their quirks and all of their new equipment to better maximize on their quirks and abilities. And it's basically them against everybody else. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's basically it. If you guys have seen this episode of My Hero Academia, what did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month, and it really helps me out, so I would definitely appreciate it if you did that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!